Hi, this is the Cool Geek, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to convert a pivot table into a database. With us, we have monthly sales data for this example. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot this data and create a yearly, quarterly, and monthly sales report. And then I'm going to use that particular pivot table that I have created as a database. And how will I make it as a database? I'm going to use Name Manager to create names on top of the pivot that I have created, and then use the dashboard to populate all the data that I have from the pivot table here, right? So essentially what's going to happen is pivot table is going to be used as a database, or it is going to be in a form that is reusable so that we could populate the dashboard based on the data that we have from the pivot table. Let's get into the data and see what do we have there. So I have daily sales from 2012 January to May 2017. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the pivot database sheet and create the pivot summary quickly, right? So I'm going to drag month to the rows area. Okay, you might have it not grouped like I have it. You might have it something like this, so don't panic. I'm going to put sales to the values area and units sold to the values area again, right? So I have my columns placed there. I'm going to right click here, say group, and I'm going to group it by months, quarters, and years. Okay, so once I do that, I have it in this format. Now what I'm going to do is first ensure that I have the numbers formatted well, because when we insert a pivot table, the formats that we have within the table does not get retained here, right? So I'm just going to do a quick fix. Let's say value field settings, number format, and I'm going to change that to currency with English India and reduce it to 0. If you want, you could change it to some other currency. If you don't have the rupee currency, that's okay. And say okay. I've done that. Then I do the units also. I'm going to say number format. I'm going to say number. Use 1000 separator. Reduce the decimals and say okay. So now I have the numbers formatted. Now what I need to do is the pivot table that we have created is in a default format, right? It's not in a reusable format. What do I mean by that? I do not have 2012 quarter 1 Jan in a particular row so that I could reuse that information on the dash. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the design tab and remove subtotals, remove the grand totals, okay? And within the remove report layout, I'm going to change it into a tabular form, which is what we want because we want to reuse it. And then I'm going to say repeat all items. This is the most important step, where all the items are repeated. Now this becomes into a tabular form that is reusable, but it's still not reusable because I cannot make this as a table and use it within the dashboard, right? So for doing that, I'm going to take support of a name manager. Okay, so by default, when you insert a pivot table, you have two rows on top of the pivot table. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove one of the rows and retain just one of it. And on top, I'm going to write some formula that will help me create names that I can put within my name manager, right? So if I go to the name manager, you will see I don't have any names right now except for table sales. That is this particular table that I have here. Okay. Apart from that, the other tables are this, and this. Okay, so coming back to here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say concatenate each of the column names that I have here with a name that I can type easily and get it from name manager, right? So it's going to be this one, say db underscore and down there. Okay, so I have it with me here now. I'm going to drag the same formula down for all of the columns here, and you'll see that I have a unique name created. Right now, ensure that what you have within the columns here should not have any spaces because name manager cannot handle spaces. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this to underscore sales. Just because we cannot put sales as it already exists, right? So it should give some other name. So I'm just going to put an underscore, which will have a double underscore in the name. That's okay. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to remove this, put an underscore, and put an underscore here, right? I have few names now that can be accepted by the name manager. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the 5 columns from top here and ensure that the bottom rows are also selected, so that if the pivot table expands, we are accommodating for all that expansion. Okay. Now I'm going to say create from selection top row, say okay. Now what this does is it creates names that we have on top here. Now once that is done, automatically your pivot table is converted into a database. How? Now we have named ranges that can be reusable on the dashboard. So up till now we have created the names on top of the pivot table and made this as a database. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we are going to use these name managers to populate this dashboard. Thank you for watching.